Good evening, and we are live, and welcome to episode 13. I think this is lucky number 13 of the Bob and Kevin Show. Doing a little late night episode this week because life gets in the way sometimes. Tonight, as always, we're going to cover the headlines that matter to us. Of course, we're going to do a lot of creepy robot stuff as well, our internet famous YouTube quiz, and we're going to let the audience decide what our pull-out segment's going to be tonight. So, it's Monday, February 26th in the evening time. Hope you have your jammies on and a nice cup of your favorite nighttime beverage, because here we go.
Is drinking coffee this late at night probably a bad idea?
That is so wrong on so many levels. Is it really coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be up till Friday.
Okay, well, my body, I drink so much caffeine that my body's just like, whatever. It's just like normal. So, how was your weekend, sir?
My weekend was busy. We went to go see friends for the mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead last night. Participating in some Sunday fun day activities before that. So, and then drove back for a 4.5-hour drive this morning. So, bleh.
Do you have any spoilers you care to share with the audience?
They all die.
Oh, wow.
Good guys, bad guys, zombies, they're all dead.
Oh, that stinks.
That is not true, by the way. But
all right, yeah.
How about you? What'd you do this weekend?
Me and one of the kids, we finished a Disney movie, Star Wars related, and I also did lots of drawing, senseless, terrible humor, crappy drawings on my iPad, and that's about it. It was a blur this weekend.
Wait, so you didn't watch a Disney Star Wars movie? You produced one?
We made one. Yeah. So If you go to my YouTube channel, you can check it out. My son Jackson and I, we've made 2 now, and we're going to make a 3rd one, probably our final in the Disney 2018 series.
The trilogy, just like trilogies.
You're right. Star Wars, it was made for trilogies, so you're right. All right, so Bob, are you ready to get on the clock?
I gotta tell you though, I'm a little worried about this whole Jackson thing. I feel like he's gonna replace me on the show any day now.
I wouldn't be too worried about it. He can run Alexa.
He's way cuter than I am, though.
He's pretty good on mobile apps, but you've got him in every other category, so I think you're good to go.
I think I can beat him up too, just for the record.
I'm pretty sure you can. All right, so we are going to start this week on the clock here, and so if I can figure out how to do this in a less, well, we're on the clock. All right, so
here we go.
Windows 10 security. Google exposed how malicious sites can exploit Microsoft Edge, Bob.
This is truly browser war because, I mean, I guess they had an ethical obligation to wait a certain amount of time, and then they released it after the expiration. Is that the gist of that all?
90 days. They gave 90 days. They said, please fix this within 90 days. Otherwise, we're going nuclear with the press release. And time came, time went, and Google went ahead and said, yep, we told you, and you didn't fix it. So,
who's they that determines the 90 days?
It's Google. It's a self-imposed
their game.
responsible disclosure type thing.
So do we know, has Microsoft addressed it?
I believe they are working on it, but the big hubbub was that they hadn't worked on it yet. So I don't know. More to follow.
Bad Microsoft.
Too soon.
Hashtag too soon.
All right. Next up, how much time do you have on your hands, or money, I guess is really the question. Time is money for Jeff Bezos. Not sure how to say that. There's a giant clock being built in a mountain that's supposed to last 10,000 years at a cost of $42 million. Bob, you want one?
You know what? I'll take 2. Put one in a couple different mountains. One on the eastern range, one on the western range. I have no idea. I wish I could comprehend having that kind of money. Have we determined, is there an actual purpose to the clock?
Yeah, to spend as much money as possible, I guess. I don't know. It's I would hope you at least get a Rolex logo here or there, but who knows? But hey,
why can't you just say, "Hey Alexa, what time is it?"
I don't know, but if you want to blow that much money, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll build you a clock for half that. Is all I'm saying. All right. So next up, can you hear me now? So there's a new app coming out, or it's kind of out right now, I believe. It's called Signal. It's by the WhatsApp co-founder, and he's dropped $50 million in it to basically make sure that people are not eavesdropping on the conversation.
Is this going to be a never-ending like cat and mouse game between like the feds and the apps and the software engineers? You know, this encrypt or not encrypt. Let us break it open. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think so. But you know, you gotta have some sort of way to have a private conversation these days. So, you know, when the NSA has the ability to backdoor into all these things, it's really this police state, Big Brother mentality, and I applaud this. Even though I know the dark side of it is, well, terrorists can now communicate without being listened in on. I get that, but at some point, I need a private conversation.
So, yeah, that ongoing battle with the, you know, protecting the people, like, where does that, it's a slippery thing. It's definitely a slippery slope.
So, good thing or bad thing, or, you know, do you like this sort of protection, or do you think the feds or whoever should be able to listen in?
Yeah, hopefully people are getting that I don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. I figure everything's out there, so.
Yeah, this conversation, I think, is being recorded, Bob.
Just so you know. Probably is.
By YouTube. Okay. Death robots, or whatever the heck these things are. Well, apparently now they can do all kinds of cool things like jumping, doing backflips, and things like that. Boston Dynamics is a name that I had never heard of before. Now all I can think of is they're the ones who are going to make Skynet. These things are just crazy. At what point does the military say, that's cool, we want one?
Dude, I swear to God, that exact robot was in Terminator, just the chrome.
That's great. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Of course they
Now, one thing I did read in this article, though, is apparently like the dogs that we were kind of freaking out about last week, they were remote controlled.
Is that supposed to make me feel any better?
A little bit. At least they're not autonomous.
Yet,
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. That does make me feel a little better. And we forgot to talk about cats. You can get a robot cat.
That was all in that segment? Yes.
Yep.
You can get open source robot cat now. So you know what? If you want to start to explore making your own little death robots in your STEM classes, boom, kitty.
Okay, moving on. All right, so Tesla, Breaker 19. Tesla got your ears on over. Good buddy. So apparently electric semi-transport in the America, lorries, I guess if you're from the UK, is a thing. It's coming to a highway near you, Bob.
So the specs on these are super badass. We covered them maybe a couple months ago in one of our first episodes. I guess the big thing now is that the companies are going to be able to realize the savings from the fuel costs and maintenance costs of these things a little bit faster than they anticipated. They were expecting a 2-year ROI, and looks like they're going to be coming in, possibly less than 18 months.
It's going to be really weird seeing one of these on the side of the road when it's got a dead battery, because where the heck is this thing going to recharge at? We don't have the infrastructure yet, do we?
They're starting. I know that Tesla is starting to offer business locations chargers for automobiles, so it's coming. He'll make sure it works.
Yeah. I mean, I want this to happen. We just don't have it there. Wouldn't it be great if the roads had kinetic energy that that could be stored through piezoelectric, I'm not sure how to say that word, things, and it stores in the batteries, and you could actually, people using fossil fuels would actually charge batteries for these, and it'd just be like this eventual thing. That would be
great.
All right, let's protest. Ready, set, protest. Yeah, but not yet. Tomorrow. So there's apparently going to be a protest for net neutrality here in the U.S. There's going to be a hashtag, I think, called One More Vote. I think this is probably going to be like pounding sand or yelling at a wall, but, might as well try.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, one thing that we didn't talk about in all the times that we've talked about net neutrality is the bots that were being used to, post pro-dismantling statements and, fake accounts, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of just been swept under the rug. And I think that's some of the impetus behind the new vote too, or wanting to have another vote.
So the gun debate's going on. I definitely don't want to talk about the gun debate right now, but I definitely will think that they have a common thread, which is money. Money is influencing everyone on all those issues in America. You can buy your politician. I did not really know that you could do that. Sounds like corruption to me. And this is yet another example that affects me, where your local politician can be bought and sold, and that's weird.
And another thing, kind of loosely connected, apparently your political representative can threaten to punish reputable businesses that aren't towing the line with the pay-to-play. More to come on that.
Oh, man. Insert statement about founding fathers turning over in their grave here. Yes. All right, time to hate on Apple. Actually, not really. Not this time. We're just going to point out that Apple is now using Google Cloud for their iCloud, and they were formerly using the artist known as Azure, I think. Is that right, Bob?
I think they're moving away from Azure, or I know that they've used Azure. Apple may no longer be using Microsoft Azure. So it's apparently like Apple uses, is Apple vaporware? Like who do they use for their cloud services?
I don't know, but I guess I'm beside myself. I would have thought they would have had their own infrastructure, being Apple, but apparently they depend on others for data storage, which is really kind of weird.
Well, have you ever looked at like the components that make up the Apple operating system? They're all based off of open source components that they have repackaged and made not open source.
Meaning like OS 10 is just a form of Linux?
Well, yeah, and like the calendar app and things like that are all flavors of things that were built for running on Linux operating systems, and then they just kind of like package them. Fact checkers should check me on this, but this is something that frustrated me many years ago.
Yes. For those who don't know, we have a stable of dozens of fact checkers. Dozens. It's quite amazing.
It resembles a bot farm. It's crazy.
It is quite amazing. All right. Well, I have iCloud, a prompt that keeps coming up on my new iPad. I have no idea how to make it go away, so I'm going to have to Google that because I don't use iCloud. Sorry.
So you're going to Google it?
I'm going to Google it. I have to turn this crap off. All right. Password. Has your password been stolen?
Answer's yes.
There's this really cool tool that Troy Hunt helped pioneer. And long story short, when you connect this service to your account registration or your account management thing, it can tell you whether or not your password is in a list of passwords that have already been compromised, and it uses a thing called k-anonymity. There you go, Bob. New word for you.
It uses k-anonymity to say, I'm going to try to check to see if my password's been stolen without it being stolen by me checking to see if it's been stolen.
So when you put in your password, it will check against a resource that says, hey, this password is unique. It's not been showing up anywhere in the hacker dictionary, so to speak. Or sure enough, it has. In fact, it's been in 1 million compromised accounts. So don't use test 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can't believe you put my password in the headline for this. That is so not cool.
Well, that was my way of getting you to change it now that everyone has your password. And so k-anonymity is really cool because I don't actually pass the password that you want to choose as a candidate to this service. It uses k-anonymity, which is a really cool thing to Google, and it's not a new concept, but it's a new way to spin on how to use it. But basically, if you take a password, do a SHA-1 hash of it, take the first 5 characters and send it off to the service will say, well, let me give you back a data set of about 200 to 300 passwords that once you hash them could match. And you as the service, so let's say, my website is the one using this service, I can say, oh, well, you know what? I don't have to tell you the password. I can see what was compromised before, and I can say, you know what? You got a unique password. Good job. Or it's been used 1 million times. Right. Not going to accept it.
No bueno.
No bueno. All right. I talked a lot there. Sorry.
That was a good one. Ground
control to Major Musk. Sorry. I don't sound like David Bowie whatsoever.
None of us do.
Okay. So Elon Musk claims SpaceX Starlink internet service will be IP-less. Bob, how does it make you feel?
It's super exciting because something we talked about on the show, the midweek show last week, is SSL certificates and IPs. So it'd be great if this new Elon Musk internet didn't use IPs, and then maybe won't have to use SSL certificates either.
So I've got a tweet out to Elon. We're on first name basis, by the way. He hasn't yet responded to me. He's probably at dinner, so totally understand. Totes. In a former life, I worked on satellites, and there's a lot of concerns, not concerns, but things you got to deal with when you talk about satellite internet. First of all is latency. To go up to a communication satellite and back, that's about a half-second round trip. You're not going to be playing any first-person shooting games on that sort of latency. Which
is that 500 milliseconds?
That's half a second, yes.
Yeah, half a second, okay.
And that's pretty dang slow. And then the other thing is you're going to need specialized hardware. And we already have satellite-based internet through Dish Network, and there's a couple of them out there.
It's crap.
And so you need specialized hardware because DirecTV and your Dish Network TV, that's receive only, but you need to be able to transmit back up to a satellite, and that requires special hardware. So I'm curious on how this will all work. When it says IP-less, I'm not sure what that means, because when you do or satellite communications from the ground to the spacecraft, it's all analog signals anyway. It's just radiation going out there at certain frequencies and coming back. So I'm not sure if this is just what he's saying there. So I'm not sure what IP-less actually means. All right. So we've got serverless payments because Stripe is offering topless servers. And I just wanted to say that. Bob, you found this one. This is basically kind of a highlighting the ability to do processing without having a server.
Yeah, but I think it's probably a little bit of a misleading headline. The reason why I picked it is because we've talked about some stuff that's going on in the fintech world with logins and things like this. So the serverless payments, I was really kind of hoping that you would, function as a service if you had any insights into that and how that what that means.
Well, I read through it, and Azure has something called Azure Functions. So they have a really cool chart right here. Basically, in the shaded area here, it's basically that's what you're paying for, because traditionally you buy a server and it's always on and it's always costing you money. Wouldn't it be great if you only got charged based on execution of a certain method? And if it didn't execute, you didn't get charged. So that's the idea behind this, where you don't pay for a server to be on always. You pay for a method or a function to be on, and it only costs you when somebody actually executes it.
So it's like on-demand processing.
On-demand processing. It's exactly right. So they got this little platform as a service versus function as a service. One is 24/7. The other one says it only runs when you get an inbound request, et cetera, et cetera. Billing is different. So that's what that is. Stolen socket layer. That's what SSL might mean if you are doing malware. So not necessarily a new thing, but an uptick in this. Basically, if you get a hold of somebody's private key, you can masquerade as them. This is why you should not let your private key go just anywhere, because they become you.
Right. So there's all these different attacks out here that compromise data on end user systems. And obviously, if you're storing your private key locally, that could be some of the stuff that's compromised. So do you think we're going to see these instances go up come July, in the lead up to July and after July, because of the requirement for SSL through Chrome?
Probably, because people won't handle their chain of custody of their SSL very well. But if we're using this as an excuse to say, well, let's just not use SSL, this is cutting off your nose to spite your face.
I know, as much as I'd like to say that, but I realize that it's a must-have. And just for everybody that's watching, we covered SSL in depth on our Wednesday episode. So if you look in our bonus, or I think it's under the midweek playlist, look under the midweek playlist, and we cover SSL in depth.
Yeah, and Troy Hunt's got some really cool stuff. Big Troy Hunt fanboy. Troy Hunt can only let me down at this point because I think so highly of him. So sorry, Troy. You're
he's at the pinnacle.
Yeah, you're at the top, buddy. It's only going to get bad from here. All right, Alexa. Oh, shoot. She's going to talk for real. Talk nerdy to me. Hopefully she...
I don't know that.
All right, good. She didn't know it. So apparently McAfee thinks it's a good idea to bring security to our device here because
I feel like this could be like a skill that anybody could write. I mean, like, so, and who's going to use it? Who's going to be like, hey, lady, how many devices are connected to my network right now?
I think the only useful really one feels like this one here.
Yeah, all right.
But again, um, it's almost like we're finding, people are sitting down in a room going, I got it. What if we did this? And it's just like really stretched. It's I guess.
From a marketing standpoint, people are looking for points of differentiation for their products. And this actually comes up a lot in conversations. Let's make a voice activated, part of our software.
Yeah, I think it's just like a mobile apps. Let's just get one just so we can have one, guys.
Yep.
All right, and Black Mirror, the real life documentary. So Microsoft predicts everyone will soon have an AI second self, and people in Sweden are going to make a robot clone of dead people, and both of these really kind of creep me out.
They were both like, definitely the second one is, I think, season 2, an episode of season 2 of Black Mirror. This woman's husband went out to get some milk or something, and he got in a car accident. And there was an online service where you could have online chat with your dead spouse or someone that you lost. And then they upsell you through a pyramid scheme, and you can actually get a working model robot of your lost loved one. And it comes in a box to your house, and you boot him up, and there you have it. So, dead person reanimated.
I think I think a psychologist should probably step in here and go, guys, when people die, closure. Well, and I think
in season 3, they have the service where they offload your consciousness into the cloud. And so then you can relive in any state that you want, and you can go from little like server farm to server farm and experience like it was decade based.
Have you watched Altered Carbon on Netflix yet?
Have not started Altered Carbon. I heard it's pretty good.
So I started watching. I fell asleep. Not that it's bad, just because I fell asleep, even after coffee. And it's basically your body is they call it the sleeve, and you can download a consciousness into a disc that's implanted at the base of your skull, and then you can just change hosts whenever you want and travel forward in time by hopping through hosts.
Oh, what was that? They've been doing that for a long time. Wasn't it like Fifth Element, where you could get somebody's like dreams or something? What was one of the show where you could buy somebody's fantasies?
I don't know. It sounds kind of titillating.
It was.
All right, Bob. Right now, let's take the opportunity to hard sell everyone on the free service known as the Bob and Kevin Show.
Oh, I did it with confidence. Yes.
There you go. We would love it if you were to mash the button in the corner, and if you go to our show page, there's a little bell icon. That bell icon, make sure that you never miss a notification from us. Even when they're completely wrong title, description, you won't miss it. You'll know that we're doing something. It may not be the right thing.
So there's a fun toy that we can get if we get to 100 subscribers. So if you're watching and you've not subscribed, just go ahead and click the button, because if we get to 100, then we can get a custom URL. So it'd be youtube.com/Bob and Kevin Show instead of random character string after the slash. So yeah, if you could help us out there by pushing that subscribe, we would love to have that shiny custom URL.
All right. So Bob, are you ready for that time?
It is quiz time.
It is.
I almost said the total closeout catchphrase.
Oh, that would have been bad. Just kidding. All right, Bob, it's quiz time. I was fairly rough on you last week, so hopefully you're gentle.
I was combing the interwebs for hours and hours, curating these magical 3 questions. Actually, I like grab bag or potpourri, whatever you want to call that category. I think potpourri would be misleading, because then maybe you would think I was going to ask you questions about smelly things. But go with grab bag. The topic is grab bag this week.
Okay.
And so it's going to be referencing stuff that may or may not have happened in the past week, or be relevant or loosely tied to the events of the past week.
So if I didn't watch the news mainly all week,
well, it might not be newsworthy either, but you know how my mind works. These are very loosely connected to the past 7 days.
Okay.
So there was an event, and are you familiar with the artist Fergie?
Yes.
From Black Eyed Peas, I believe.
Yes.
She sang the national anthem at what event?
The NBA All-Star Game?
Ding.
All right.
Excellent.
I got that right because I watched the video and I was just like, interesting.
He's got a great voice. I think there's just some very interesting choices.
Interesting is where I'll leave it. Yes.
I don't think I would have elected to do the national anthem as like a smoky jazz lounge kind of.
Gotcha.
rendition. All right. So you're 1 for 1. Nice work. All right. I'm going to skip number 2 for right now.
What?
Nope. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll go in order. It's a true or false question. That's why I was going to skip it because I thought maybe it was too easy. But this is true or false. Mark Zuckerberg from the Bookface fame will be on an episode of The Big Bang Theory coming soon.
This is true or false?
True or false?
I'm going to go with true.
It's false. It's actually Bill Gates is going to be on an episode of The Big Bang Theory coming very soon.
Okay.
Do you watch The Big Bang Theory?
I don't.
I think you really like it.
I'm a pretender nerd since I don't watch that, right?
I just like it. The comedies, it's very fast paced. I like shows with lots of dialogue, and this one definitely has lots of dialogue.
This is like the Quentin Tarantino of sitcoms, or what?
Exactly. Nice. Very nicely done. All right. So we are on to question number 3. You're 1 for 1, or 1 of 2. Sorry. Got 1 right, 1 wrong. Question number 3. What is the highest grossing movie franchise of all time?
Highest grossing movie franchise of all time. I'm going to totally guess. I'm going to guess a James Cameron movie, and it's going to be Avatar. That's my guess.
Is Avatar part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
You said Marvel? Shoot.
Well, no, I didn't say Marvel. I said what was the highest movie franchise.
All
right,
not.
so the highest one is Marvel. I thought you were going to go with Star Wars. So
okay.
I think that's number 2. And the reason why I picked that is because Black Panther came out this week or last. I have not seen it.
I haven't either, and everyone I respect has seen it and come back with glowing reviews. I haven't heard one person even be on the fence.
And I think you and I talked about this last week that's like a little daunting for us to have to watch.
Because I'm going to go into going, this is going to be crap. Because it can't live up to expectations. It's going to be like the best movie ever, and I'll be like rage eating my popcorn. Oh, it's just not as good as everyone was saying. All right. So
high expectations can really ruin a film. I think I've experienced this firsthand.
Yes. All right, Bob. So
1 for 3. I did right. I did good.
Yes, you did good. We haven't talked about the Bitcoin pizza in a bit, so we got to make sure we get our mileage on this right here. So right now, your Bitcoin pizza is worth $98 million. I haven't really talked crypto in a while. Crypto is just all over the freaking place lately, but it's, I think, currently up. It's around 10K for Bitcoin, and naturally, I don't own any. So
it's definitely been stabilizing over the past, I would say, 30-ish days. There's a couple pops and, sparkles, but for the most part, it's hanging around that 10K, and Ethereum's struggling to get up to 1, and I think Litecoin is stabilizing around 2. So 200.
So Bob, was there any topics that we talked about, and I can rifle through these potentially that are worthy of further introspection, or did we cover everything quite well?
I don't know. Did anybody hit us up on Twitter or through the chat and say?
I must have the filter on because I didn't get any notifications, so maybe that's my bad. So.
Shocking. Maybe there's an internet node down somewhere between here and all other destinations.
Maybe it's net neutrality preventing. Yes. So people's requests will get here. They just won't get here till tomorrow.
Till after we're done being live. So we will miss out on all those clamoring requests for us to cover. I'm going to guess that people wanted us to talk more about robots.
Okay. All right. So are you going to protest tomorrow somehow with net neutrality? I don't know what to do. What should I do? Like tweet something? Is that like... Will my protest street cred go up if I tweet on that hashtag? I'm just trying to understand my place in all this.
I think there was an article that was floating around in our list for the news, and I don't know if we got to it or not, but the Twitch and YouTube content providers, maybe we can look a little bit more into that one. And as a show, maybe, show a sign of solidarity. Individual voice, I think I'll probably throw something up there too, just because, this could impact all of us. I mean, in the way of paying more, getting less service. So there's all kinds of stuff that,
Are you the kind of person that would like get a hold of your congressman or your senator or senators?
I'm part of organizations that do a lot of those letter writing and calling campaigns. I'm a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to it, though. I do know that the one time that my voice is definitely heard is at the ballot box. So luckily I have a lot of very politically active friends that will write and call and protest physically.
I have almost no faith in the process anymore. I don't know if that's the opposite of your opinion or agreeing. I'm not sure yet because it's all muddy, So
no, I think it's pretty in line. I mean, I don't think that there's really, unless we start to see some valid outcomes from this kind of behavior on the citizens that's outside of voting.
So how do we stop the money from going from lobbyists who have clear financial reasons?
See, that's the weird thing where it comes down to individuals again, though. So those people that we've elected who are being bought and paid for, until we put people in office that are not going to allow themselves to be bought and paid for, and I just don't know if those people exist.
It's also politician season. It seems like it's always politics season. TV ads are insert face here, I'm going to be different, and then they get elected, they go off, then the next face. It's just like this.
I like the smeary guy ads.
You like smeary guy ads?
Your candidate has done the worst thing that any candidate has ever done in history. Politics.
Paid for by somebody other than the guy who's really like stands to benefit.
Paid for by the people who don't want to see your candidate get elected.
Yeah, it's always that shadowy voice and that ominous music. It's. I wonder if you can like Facebook gives you like that. Here's what happened video over the last year. You think they just go to some website like, what's your candidate name that you're running against, and give me some juicy stuff here. Okay, you hit like submit, and then you just download your commercial, and then you just upload it to the TV station.
Well, there's got to be a voice like text to speech smeary guy voice. There's got to be.
You know what? Honestly, if I wish I had a smeary guy voice, because that guy
he's everywhere.
It's just like the movie guy voice. I would love to be that guy, but I think the smeary guy voice is probably gainfully employed. He's probably got a waiting list. Yeah,
he's definitely higher paid.
Yeah, man.
Than movie phone guy.
Man, I'm rethinking like career plans here. I'm gonna practice my smeary guy voice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Your candidate stole candy from a baby.
Oh my gosh. And then
oh, is my mic still goofing up, by the way, or did it get better when you told me?
It sounds good. Okay. Yep. All good. Buttery smooth. Sounds of the 70s with Bob. Sounds really good.
Late night tech with Bob and Kevin.
Okay, Bob, we're meandering. All right. You got any final useful thoughts or anything?
Final thoughts. Even after I said I don't know if it's very, very results oriented, use your voice, get it heard, do something. Don't just sit there and say nothing. That's my thing.
All right, and I'm going to take a totally different tact. I'd like you to subscribe to our channel right there, because subscribers matter. We aren't bought and paid for, at least not yet. And so we can say whatever we want. We can say how we actually feel on this show. And I actually pride myself on...
That's not true.
Wait, what? Are we being
You
paid?
can. You can. I can't.
Oh, okay. I can say whatever I want.
See show opening disclaimer.
That's right. And Bob's opinions are his own. And
yes, my opinions are my own, always.
Yes.
And always will be.
And so, yeah. I like genuine, authentic opinions. So there's one more authentic, genuine thing that I would like to hear from you, Bob.
Bring the lightning.